Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Niners podcast, where we learn from people living on the edge of a decade, the edge of a century, or those about to bring a new life onto this planet. Today, I'm interviewing Amanda. And before we begin the interview, I want to share a couple things. One, this is super special because it's March 9th when we're releasing this episode, the day after the International Day of the Woman. And Amanda shares a lot about what it's like to be a woman at 49, about to turn 50. We talk about perimenopause. And Amanda asked me as I share this, when she says the word woman, she means any human with a uterus. We're thrilled to hear her words, her thoughts. And then secondly, I've had the opportunity to recently interview Amanda's father, who is 91 now. So our next to drop on March 19th is going to be his interview. Y'all, welcome back to the Niners podcast, and I hope you enjoy.
Perimenopause. 39-year-old women. You are not the same as a 39-year-old man. Perimenopause can happen in your 30s. It's real. It doesn't make any sense. Like, weird things will happen to your body, and doctors will try to explain it the way they would explain it to a man's body. Like, things like your shoulder freezes up. Like, your shoulder. It's called frozen shoulder. None of us know about that. It's real. You're like, what's wrong with my shoulder? It's perimenopause. So your hormones like whooshing out of your body is real. So all 39-year-old women, start paying attention and advocate for yourself with the healthcare system. Listen to people's stories. Like, the only way, I've been doing community-driven art for 30 years now, and I fully, wholeheartedly, absolutely believe that the only way we make the world better is listen to your stories and to ask, do what you're doing in this podcast. The guy at Starbucks where you get your coffee and see what his deal is, like, just to know who other people are in the world. I think we're all afraid of that. We're afraid to talk to each other.
Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever time it is that you are tuning in to the Niners podcast. I'm your host, Tim Cunningham, and I am thrilled, as always, to have the profound opportunity to listen to folks. Today, we are honored to learn a little bit from Amanda. Amanda, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Super happy to be here.
It is so good to see you again. I think the last time I saw you was at your wedding, which was far too long ago to have not seen you since, right?
Yeah, too long. Yes, I think that's right.
Yeah.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're here on the edge. Yeah,
So here we are on the edge. And
Yeah.
right now, Amanda, how old are you?
49.
49, on the edge of 50. How about some background? Can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and where you currently live?
I am from Charlottesville, Virginia, and I've lived in Los Angeles for 16 years. So I call the West Coast home now. Now I'm also up and down the West Coast between Portland, Oregon, and Los Angeles.
Right on. Tell us a little bit about how you like to spend your time.
I'm a theater artist. I'm a producer. I'm a director. I'm an educator. I work in social justice theater. So I work with communities to make theater about what's important to them, which means I don't make any money, but I have a very satisfying life. Currently, I'm working with veterans to use Shakespeare to tell their stories. I'm working with high school students where we pay them an hourly wage to do a production. In the past, I've taught in women's and men's institutions, correctional institutions. So that's really where my heart and passion are, is all types of live art making that heal and connect.
I feel like every time we do touch base, even if it is at 3-year intervals, you're always doing something brand new or 5 somethings brand new. And I have the best memory. You directed a show at UVA forever ago. I forget the name of it, but the opening of the show with all the characters walking down the stairs in the round with their headsets, like pure magic.
That was
I loved that show.
The Wolves by
The
Sarah
Wolves, that's
DeLapp,
right.
about a girls' soccer team. I love that you remember that opening because beginnings are so important. The first an audience sees on stage, that's what's going to hook you in. So I love that you named that.
Oh, yeah, you nailed it. And the way you staged it and the way, like, I think you shared with me, none of your actors were like that great at soccer, but the way you staged it and choreographed it, it was so good.
Aw,
So good.
thank you. I appreciate that. I'm about to do a production of Pericles. I should also say, like, I'm also on the edge of going into doing a new piece with a new group of folks.
All right. So what's that like for you to be on that creative edge?
It's always like, because I work so much with ensembles and the humans matter who I'm working with, it's never like I'm just doing another play. It's like, what am I gonna learn from these people? What are we gonna create? I was working on my script last night. I was like, I don't know what this moment's gonna look like. We're just gonna see in rehearsal. Like, I'm not a director who's like, here's how we do the pirate ship. It's gonna be like
Mm.
in the room, like, what have you got? What have you got? What do you think? How do we make a pirate ship? And then we get to create it together and it will exist, which is always true of theater. But I think if you're more prescriptive, then you don't feel as on the edge. Whereas I always
Mm.
like feel on the edge, like, this is gonna be such a cool journey.
And next journey, tell me a little bit about you are 49, so you're on the edge of being 50. What excites you the most about moving into the next decade?
I really wanna keep giving less fucks. In my 40s, I've really felt that wisdom, like, that I get to own it finally, and then I'm excited about in my 50s, like, stepping into my power even more. I don't think I actually stepped into my power till my 40s to really my friend has a T-shirt she made that says "Big Crone Energy." Lean into my crone years.
Yeah.
This is it. I think we struggle so much in the arts too, me specifically with imposter syndrome and all kinds of inferiority complexes. Again, like I was saying, it took me a long time to step into my powers. I feel like my 50s is like a permission to stop being afraid.
All right.
I think I've always had more
So,
fear than I've thought I've had.
Amanda, when did you stop giving fucks? You said you started stepping into
Yeah.
your wisdom in your 40s.
Yeah.
Was that at the same time, or did you stop giving fucks before then?
I felt myself giving fewer fucks, and then it's gotten stronger through my 40s. And then my journey in my 40s really has been stepping into queerness. So, I was a queer kid who wasn't allowed to be a queer kid to grow up in Central Virginia with conservative parents. And it took me, which I kind of marvel at now, but we all have our own journey. It really took me until my mid 40s to be like, I am a fully queer person. I identify as queer. This is how I'm going to live my life. And it was so freeing. So that was
Mm.
also connected to giving fewer fucks, like realizing that when I look back over my life, I'm like, God, I've always been so queer. But the forces, the societal forces, the family forces was all so pressing down so hard that I didn't just ever allow myself. It was always just a little voice that's like, you're queer, but don't go too far into it. Don't talk about it. Do it, kind of keep it a secret or like tell some people. So it was giving fewer fucks and stepping into queerness was kind of also an unraveling the things you're supposed to do. So that's been my big journey.
Now into the age of crone. How do you define
Yeah.
crone? What is the ideal crone state?
So the archetype, I also identify as a witch. So the archetypes that we're working with, the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And so the maiden are in those years of like coming into being. The mother is those years of tending, of caretaking. And then the crone is you've moved through all that and you're the wisdom keepers. You're the holders
Uh,
of space. I feel like you've moved through fear and it's a time of like channeling something bigger. It's a time of channeling and stepping being strong in your wisdom and not afraid to share it
mm.
because you're not having to caretake. I've never birthed a child. I've birthed a lot of things. I've birthed a lot of artistic things. I've birthed a lot of communities, a lot of caretaking. And so I feel like also wisdom is also just opening that up so that you are in touch with something higher as opposed to caretaking something small.
Yeah, yeah. Amanda, I'm hearing so much of this movement deeper into your own wisdom
Yeah.
that's always been there, and you're tapping it now in a different way, giving less fucks. Any other advice, if you could go back a decade ago, that you would give to yourself that you know now? What would you love to have known then?
It would be related. It would be s really release fear, like, actually release fear, which I haven't been able to do yet. Um, but to name fear, I think at 39, I was still like, "I'm not afraid of anything," and then, but why am I not really going for things? So just naming it, I would tell myself to name it and do the work to move through it.
Mm.
I would also tell myself that she's super hot. I spent a lot of time thinking about my body too much and comparing it to other people's. And now in my 40s, living in a bigger body because perimenopause is real. That's the other thing that I want all women in their 40s to know. So, any women this is maybe a different question, but any woman who's 39 who I'm giving advice to is like, perimenopause is fucking real. And so us getting older, women being in their 40s is nothing like men being in their 40s. Weird shit will happen to you. And nobody tells you that. Perimenopause can start in your 30s. Nobody tells us that. So you're like, why am I gaining all this weight? Or like, why am I like so tired? Why does my knee hurt? Like science does not look at menopause. Like med school doesn't have a menopause section. And so it
Nope.
is the Wild West. And I would have liked to have told my 39-year-old self, like, shit's gonna get wild in your body because it's like your 40s are, I feel like, when your body finally starts to be like, you've been doing this with your knee 40 years, you're gonna start to feel something different, right? Because like even in your 30s, I've heard some people say 30s feel that way. For me, I didn't. I felt exactly the same through my 30s, and then in my 40s, it's like, aging is happening to me now. And what does that mean? And
You
so
are in it.
you're actually in it. So I would tell myself, look out, stay strong. You're super hot right now. You're gonna be hot later. You're just gonna look different. Embrace it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
I remember in nursing school, we had a great, one of my favorite professors taught pathophysiology. She was a physician and then became a nurse because she really saw the deep value of nurses. And she was a
Yeah.
great lecturer, but we only got one lecture on what she called the changes. And she kind of joked about it. She said, this is about menopause, hardly mentioned perimenopause.
Exactly.
But she raised that point too. She said, there's no good science on this because
No.
the white men running all the research
Yeah.
for years and years and years were like, no, we don't touch that.
No, not studied.
So great advice to give to a 39-year-old.
Yeah.
It's real. Amanda,
Absolutely.
what worries you about the next 10 years? What keeps you up at night?
Body stuff. Like I'm excited to be in the years of wisdom, but also that like I'm not the best caretaker. I'm very much a like bon vivant, like what feels good, what tastes good, la la la, And so in my 50s, I feel like I'm gonna have to start being really diligent about taking care of my insides. Like I feel very young, like emotionally, I feel very young. But what worries me is the like physical stuff. I'm gonna have to like
Mm.
really pay attention to. Like I went to the doctor recently and it was like, oh, okay. They're like, your blood pressure's high. I'm like, what? Literally, I've never had anything weird at the doctor. And it
Oh,
was just
wow.
like, bam. So stuff like that,
Yeah.
that I can't do anything about. Just trying to sit with it.
And so in sitting with it, tell me a little more about what you can do about it.
I think it's so much about mindfulness. It's so much about being present with what is and not fighting and not struggling. And then for me personally, the work of make sure you go for a walk. It'll feel as good as if you take a nap. So they're just trying to nourish new ways of being in my body that I
Mm.
haven't yet. So me and my wife talk a lot about where do we want to be where we feel like we can move our bodies forward in time in a way that allows us to be present and peaceful.
Advice question. You already mentioned it. Advice to give to a 39-year-old. Two-part question. Can you repeat it to make sure all 39-year-old folks who are on the cusp or in perimenopause hear it? One. And two, any other advice that you might give to another niner of any decade?
Perimenopause. 39-year-old women, you are not the same as a 39-year-old man. Perimenopause can happen in your 30s. It's real. It doesn't make any sense. Like weird things will happen to your body, and doctors will try to explain it the way they would explain it to a man's body. Like things like your shoulder freezes up, like your shoulder. It's called frozen shoulder. None of us know about that. It's real. You're like, what's wrong with my shoulder? It's perimenopause. So your hormones like whooshing out of your body is real. So all 39-year-old women start paying attention and advocate for yourself with the healthcare system. And HRT is not a bad thing. Raised in the 80s, we were all told that HRT was an evil thing and nobody should do it. So I just cannot stress enough for 39-year-old women to just name it, pay attention to it, and advocate for yourself.
Awesome. Could you clarify for the audience in case they don't know what's HRT?
Hormone replacement therapy. Yeah. Get in,
Awesome.
get the right cocktail for yourself, which I'm actually about to do. I haven't had a lot of hot flashes. I've had other things happening. But again, so you also hear like you only need HRT if you're having hot flashes. That's not true either. Like, it can take care of a lot of things. Like being tired all the time. Just,
On. Any other advice not related to
yeah,
perimenopause that you might want to share to another decade?
I hesitate to give advice to people older than me because I really respect that. But younger, listen to stories. I older too. Listen to people's stories. Like the only way I've been doing community driven art for 30 years now. And I fully, wholeheartedly, absolutely believe that the only way we make the world better is listen to your stories and to ask, do what you're doing in this podcast. Talk
Right
to the
on.
guy at Starbucks where you get your coffee and see what his deal is. Like just to know who other people are in the world. I think we're all afraid of that. We're afraid to talk to each other. Find
I
ways to
think we
talk to each
also
other.
we're losing skills on how to manage our feelings when we do talk to someone and we feel
Yes.
away. It's okay to feel,
Yes.
even though we've programmed ourselves to turn off our feelings by just scrolling on to the next thing or swiping again and swiping again.
I had the most bizarre experience related to that on the plane a few
Mhm.
days ago. I sat in the wrong window seat. I just misread the number. And this family sat next to me, a mom and her daughter. And the plane was boarding. They were getting settled in. I was settled in. A guy comes up at the end of boarding and he's like, "Well, that's my seat," to me. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, I'll move." But the woman and her daughter, she hadn't said anything to me for like a full 10 minutes. And I was like, "Hey, why didn't you say anything? I could have just moved. I'm in the wrong seat." She's like, "Well, I just didn't." And she trailed off. And to me, it
Uh,
was a moment of we're so afraid to talk to. Maybe people are afraid to get yelled at. We're afraid to advocate for ourselves. But I'm like, I'm clearly in your seat. You are fully right here. And I was
you
thinking,
have
like,
proof.
you have proof. And you were still afraid to ask me to move. It was such an interesting moment for me on like human connection. Even when there's an undeniable thing like that, I'm in your seat. Like you decided to settle yourself and your child into the wrong seats because you
Yeah.
were afraid to talk to a stranger. So emblematic for me of
I
the
mean,
times
back in
we're
the
living
day,
in.
at least in this country, to speak from my experience, back in the day, we would say hi to people on planes. And
Yeah, you chat.
anymore,
Yeah.
I've tried to talk. I'm kind of a chatty Cathy
Yeah.
sometimes. I like to talk,
Yeah.
but I try to talk to people.
No,
It's really rare
just
to have
really
a conversation
afraid.
on a plane in this country, it seems.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
It's a bummer. I know. We've lost these parasocial relationships, they're called. Those
Parasocial, is that like perimenopause?
it's not as bad. No, it's a good thing. P-A-R-A. There's this, where you like we lost him in the pandemic too. Like the guy that you get your coffee from every day. You're not friends, but you have a relationship. You are in community with each other and you know some things about each other. And it matters. It like makes our days, our lives expand. Talking to people on planes.
I want to hear more, Amanda, about mattering. What matters
Mm.
most to you?
Peace, people finding their joy and finding the thing that they are. I want everybody to know that you don't have to do anything anybody tells you to do. I want people to know that your own peace and your own joy is not related to capitalism. That also matters. I'm saying a lot of things that matter to me.
You can have multiple matters.
And
It's
multiple
all good.
matters that there are systems that exist that are not real. I often say time is not real. Clocks are not real, but our whole life revolves around them.
Hmm.
What is the you? What is the thing you need to feel whole? And then absolutely related, a thing that matters to me so deeply is community. Those things are real. We need to know ourselves and we need to know who's taking care of us and who we're taking care of. And we are biologically supposed to exist in community. That's it. We're not,
Hmm.
nations aren't real, states aren't real, governments aren't real, taxes aren't real, capitalism isn't real. Humans and our relationship to each other is what's real. But that matters to me. I want everybody to know that community is absolutely huge. It's proven if you don't have community, you like have a shorter lifespan. You probably know more
Yeah.
about that than I do, but that's real. And the nuclear family is not real. I also want people to know that was invented. Gender isn't real. Sex isn't real.
I was about to say nuclear family was invented by one gender to control the other, but that just skewed my argument since gender's not real either.
Yeah, they invented gender and then they try to oppress us all with it. Yeah, I want queer people to teach everyone how to be. And there are straight people, I don't want to call you straight, but there are people who maybe don't identify fully as queer who live in a queer way. And I think you do
Mm,
that so well. Like, how are we in space? How do we hold space for each other? How do we take care of each other? That's what queer people know inherently because we've had to grow up on the edge or in the margins, like being 49. We've had to find the way to create what we need because it doesn't exist. Something's wrong. Me as a little kid knew, like my wife knew early. She was like, oh, I'm gay. That's why I don't fit. Me was just
mm.
like, something doesn't fit. Like, I'm in the wrong family. I'm in the wrong place. I don't know what it is. And so we make these spaces. We make a space that is outside of the rules that exist. So I think we have so much to teach
Thank you
straight.
for making. Yes, I agree. Thank you for teaching us. Thank you for
Do my best.
thank you for our friendship. Thank you for seeing me for who I am because I struggle with my own personal labels as you
Yeah.
struggle too, and it context and all of that. And may we continue to make space to teach and learn and listen.
You and I were little weird kids in Central Virginia, and we've
We
been friends a
were.
long time because we saw each other because of that.
Yeah.
We
Remember when
knew
our
we didn't
sisters tried
fit.
to hook us up? When we went to Ben and Jerry's, was it a blind date or something? Like
But
looking
I
back,
didn't
like
know it
they
was.
tried.
Did you
No,
know
I
it
didn't
was?
either. No, like 10 years later, I was scratching my head. I was like, was this the
Oh,
plan?
I think it was the plan.
Sorry, sisters. I mean, A for
Sorry
effort.
for
Thanks for this great
effort.
friendship. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're so dear to me and good for them. But
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
we saw each other and have always. And I know we don't all fit with our families of origin, which is another thing of mattering. I'd love people to know that your families of origin don't matter as much as people tell you they do, related to nuclear
Mm.
family. But you are allowed to create the family that you want and make that your family and not be afraid of it. Like I see so many people struggle so much with trying to make their family of origin into what they want it to be. Like, you don't have to do that. There's other people who love you. There's other people who identify with you.
And that's more work sometimes, but so healthy when you find that love.
Yes.
And they find you.
Yes.
Amanda, this has been great. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap this up?
There was something that just popped into my mind about perimenopause. And also make sure
Perimenopause!
it makes you have little brain gaps. This feels warm and lovely and really grateful to be. I've just turned 49. So this is also like helping me like be like, oh yeah, okay, here we are.
There you
This
go.
is the edge. Next year's big. And it doesn't feel big. Again, you're just living my life. It's very weird to get to the point in your life where you're like, as a little kid, you were like, ooh, that person's old. Like,
Yeah. What was that age? What was the age when you thought people were old when you were a kid? I mean, not
Well,
your age, but like how old
yeah.
was that person that you called old?
I remember 50s and 55 was like, remember when we were kids, 55 was senior citizen.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Right?
40 was over the hill. There are all of these
Yeah.
like over the hill parties.
Yes, 40.
Yeah.
And everyone in their 40s had like a bunch of kids. Like I didn't have any role models of people in their 40s who were just living their life, not having to like be in a place of deep familial responsibility. So that seemed old to me as a kid. But I'm also zooming ahead. I'm like, in my 70s, I'm probably not going to feel like I'm in my 70s. It's going to
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah. What a treat.
I know.
If this podcast is still running, then I'm going to call you when you're 69. Hell, I'll call you when you're 59 if we make it that far.
Let's do it.
Amanda, it was so lovely to chat with you. Thank you for your time and your wisdom and your courage in all that you continue to do. And as you grow, it's such a joy to be your friend and watch you thrive.
Ditto. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Amanda, thank you again for sharing your wisdom, your thoughts. You know, at my house, I have this giant pine cone. It's from a Douglas fir tree, and I picked it up off the side of the road after I was leaving your wedding many years ago. And everywhere I've lived since, I carry it with me. And when I see it, I think of our friendship. I think of how we've known each other for decades. I think of our connection with nature. And I also think about our connection with our families. Folks, thanks again for joining the Niners podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode when I am able to interview Amanda's father, Mac. And I hear some pretty different perspectives and also some similar themes. I hope you all tune in and enjoy. Special thanks to Jen Cornell for providing our intro and outro music. I'm Tim Cunningham, and I look forward to joining you in our next episode.